Is Bitcoin preparing for a correction to 32,000? In today's video, we're going to be doing a momentum analysis on the high time frame charts and short term. Let's jump into the video. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we're going to be doing a complete momentum analysis for Bitcoin on the weekly, daily and short-term charts, discussing the next possible move for Bitcoin and of course what the charts are suggesting. Before we get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical and structural information and the relevant economic events. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you're interested in, join us on Telegram. It is the third link down below. You will get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and so much more to keep you in the loop of the market, with Bitcoin and the relevant news. If you're interested in our VIP group, you can join our VIP. We post trading signals with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. If you're interested in getting access to that, including our group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our video help, trade setup, and of course, our news chat, go ahead and contact me in the pinned comment of the free channel to get more information. Let's dive into the video, guys. And the market data as of today, it is coming into the new week. Of course, in Australia, it's just ending the weekend now for America. We can see volume is starting to pick up just a little bit, up 48.53% in the last 24 hours, sitting at a total of 78 billion. And with increased volume, we do see liquidations come up 97.4%, sitting at 117 million. As per our volatility index, we can see the price action is still rising. However, the 30 and the 60-day period volatility index is showing signs of reduction. This could be an indication of exhaustion, but we'll be taking a look at this further in the charts today. Moving over back to those liquidations, we can see of the total 117 million, a very even 60 million in both directions. This is very indicative of chop, of sideways price action, and basically liquidations on both sides, both longs and both shorts being liquidated. If we take a look at that short-term price action, we can see some absolutely crazy chop going on within the last 24 hours. And in fact, the whole month we've had some very, very intense chop price action with the large flash moves, both downwards, both upwards, very long wicks below and above our resistance and supports. And overall, it's been a pretty tricky month to trade so far. If you've been scalping, if you've been in just longs, you've been doing great. But overall, it's been a very choppy month. And take a look at this price action over here, guys. We saw a very, very large correction toward the downside, 1% within a few seconds. We saw that move flash back upwards right into resistance, followed by a huge correction, 2% downwards. And just recently, a massive rally again, pumping back up over resistance, only to be rejected back down. So really, both sides of the argument, the longs and the shorts, are getting absolutely decimated on the smaller time frame. Just goes to show sometimes when there is chop, the best thing to do is to just take a step backwards. But moving over to the DXY is potentially going to find some degree of support over here. We do have a parabolic curve over here, an inverted parabolic curve over here, acting as a degree of support. So we could potentially see the DXY find some support around over here, and of course this is going to be the lower area of that resistance range too. So I am expecting a decent attempt of support over here. If we do lose this level, well, then we're going to go straight down into this range around 104, but again, we could potentially see a bounce. So going forward, don't expect to see a bounce, but if we do, don't be surprised. But if we do correct below this level, I would then expect a continuation lower. Moving over to the S&P 500, we are actually retesting this level of resistance, right? The level of resistance is going to be the uptrending diagonal trend line of the prior market structure. We have broken down from that level. We came down, we found support at the POC, we pushed back up, and we're now retesting this level as resistance. A break above this level will send the S&P 500 higher. However, resistance is resistance until it is not. The Dow Jones, Retesting again that horizontal neckline of resistance. We can see this neckline represented by this red line. This, of course, is going to be a trigger point, meaning a break above this level will send the Dow Jones a little bit higher to around 34,800. However, resistance is resistance until it is not. If we look at the overall trend, we are in an overall uptrend. We have broken above this downtrending trend line. So we are looking pretty decent, but we are testing resistance. The DXY drops lower, below this level. Expect the S&P and the Dow Jones to continue upwards. That is enough about all that. Let's go ahead and quickly mention the economic data and then jump into Bitcoin. So, really important stuff. You have to be very much aware. We do have CPI data coming out in about 7 days. This is going to be, of course, a very important news event, as CPI is going to determine the likelihood of future interest rate decisions, right? If we see inflation go up again, the probabilities for a rate hike again at some point will start to increase very slightly, and that could be priced into the market, causing the market to correct. However, if inflation comes down, of course, and the probabilities of a reduction or a pivot start to increase, and the market could price that in, pushing higher. So we are definitely keeping our eyes on this inflation data. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, BitGet and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the BitGet link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWow exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, BitGet and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. Now, we're going to start doing our momentum analysis on the daily chart today. I want to show you a pretty interesting pattern we've noticed and something about the RSI and the market side, the B. So first and foremost, the price action has been pretty phenomenal, right? We saw a break over 32K. All these structural levels have been cleared. It does look very, very good. However, we are starting to see a degree of exhaustion in Bitcoin on not only the short-term price action. Go to a 4-hour chart, not only the short-term price action, right? We can see our momentum over here has been reducing. We're seeing the RSI drop as the price action pushes upwards. This, of course, is a very clear sign of exhaustion, but also on the daily chart, we have seen that exhaustion tick through by that RSI falling, and most importantly, the market cipher B printing a red dot. Now, the red dot on the market cipher B represents a shift from strong positive, okay, to weakening positive momentum, okay? So the momentum is still positive. The reason the momentum is still positive is because we are above that 0 point, okay? The 0 point on the histogram, so it's horizontal line. Then momentum only really turns negative when we break below this level, okay? We break below a horizontal trend line. However, we do have the blue wave moving downwards after a red dot print, which suggests exhaustion. It represents Bitcoin is struggling here to push higher. And if we do see exhaustion play out on a larger enough scale, that could indicate there is a chance of a correction coming. Now, again, we're not just saying this because we want to see a correction. In fact, I can't really care less what happens with Bitcoin. I don't have Bitcoin long-term. I sold my Bitcoin already. And I'm not an investor, I'm a trader. But for the sake of the video, guys, you know, Bitcoin is looking like it could potentially correct here. We're not just going to say we're going to go permanently up, even though we are macro bullish. And I do want to keep you guys informed. We are definitely macro bullish. We actually remain macro bullish above 32,000. Above 32,000, we are technically macro bullish. Even if we come all the way back down to retest 32K, we are still macro bullish, provided we remain above 32,000. But going back to the momentum over here. So what I'd be watching out for on the daily chart. Number one, I'd be watching out for a negative momentum shift. If we see a negative momentum shift, that is going to be a strong indication Bitcoin is likely to push to 32K. And if it is already retesting 32K when that momentum shift occurs, it actually could fall below 32K to retest this uptrending support line, okay? And number two, I'd be watching for the RSI breakdown. You can see the RSI over here. If we do have a breakdown on the RSI, that is going to be a leading sign that momentum again is shifting negative and will likely push the price action down. Just to show you a few examples of prior times we have seen these run-ups on the RSI into this overbought territory and then corrections into, again, a negative momentum shift. We have seen corrections, right? We see over here, we saw a nice run-up, we saw a breakdown, we saw a pretty strong correction over here. Again, over here, a nice run-up on the RSI, we saw a breakdown of the RSI, we saw a pretty strong correction. Again, over here, a nice run-up on the RSI, a breakdown, so these breakdowns represent negative momentum shifts, and then we see a correction occur over the coming weeks. Again, over here, a run up on the RSI, a negative momentum shift. You can see it occurs around the same time as the red dot. We see a breakdown on the price action. Again, over here, a run up on the RSI. We see a breakdown and a correction. Now, I also do want to note that all of these scenarios occurred within the bear market. And of course, when we are in a bear market, the precedent is in a downtrend, and therefore the breakdowns are going to be over exaggerated in comparison to what we would generally see in a uptrend. The breakdowns and continuations downwards would not be as aggressive as the examples I have just given. However, it doesn't mean we won't see a pullback. Just like over here, we did see a correction, and it wasn't as aggressive as the prior corrections, but it was still a 10% correction nevertheless. So that does lead us to, that does bring us to a situation where we can say, if we do see that breakdown, 32K isn't an unrealistic target anymore. It is a possible target for Bitcoin to reach, and that is why I'm saying 32K is a realistic target. If we do see a negative momentum shift, you should be aware that we could potentially be going to 32K. The problem only becomes for the bulls if $32,000 is lost. If $32,000 is lost, we re-enter this horizontal channel, this cluster of price action I'm going ahead and circling or drawing out over here. This horizontal range we developed and traveled in for about, 150 days maybe, will be a range of which we will be re-entering. If we break down below 32K, that will classify this as deviation from the trend, and we are very, very likely to continue to retest the midline, which is at 28.4K. Again, all of this will be determined based on what momentum does. If momentum flips negative, if we see that negative momentum shift, the probability for that downward continuation significantly increases. So do not ignore this. This is actually very important, and it should be in the back of your head like a warning sign, right? This is an alarm bell. This is like a danger bell. You should be paying attention to this. If you ignore this and it happens and you just don't care about it and Bitcoin corrects, you've missed out on a massive opportunity, okay? So maybe it won't happen. Maybe Bitcoin is going to continue upwards, and that'll be fantastic. We'll discuss that in a second. But if we do see this play out, this will be a great opportunity to take some shorts, to look for corrections downward, to capitalize on that downward move, okay? Do not blind yourself to 50% of the opportunities in the market purely because you want the market to serve your biases, okay? Do not blind yourself to the opportunity. If you're just looking for longs, you are blinding yourself to 50% of the opportunities. If you're just looking for shorts, you are blinding yourself to 50% of the opportunities, okay? Say, for example, you've got a 50% win rate, that makes it 25% of the chances that you are trading of success compared to 75% that you were either losing or missing out on, which is absolutely massive, okay? So focus, be objective, be realistic, don't blind yourself. Let's go ahead and take a look at short term. So as we said on the short term, it does look like we are losing momentum. Now, there is a few things we do want to be looking at, which is number one, this uptrending support level. This uptrending, so we'll go ahead and get rid of this. This uptrending support level is represented by this diagonal trend line, right? We've retested twice, 3 times, and we've just come down and retested 4 times. This again is going to be the trigger point for a correction to 33.5. If we retest 33.5, we are very likely to correct lower. That is going to be the structural trigger, okay? We have a structural trigger for a breakdown to 32K. So if we lose this level at 33.4 to 33.5, we are likely to see a correction to 32,000, okay? And again, if we see that happen, momentum is very likely to shift negative during that correction or again just after that correction. Moving back to the higher time frame, guys, if we want to see a correction, a continuation upwards, we do need to break above this level. This is still going to be our bullish trigger point. The 35.3 level or 35.25 level is going to be the bullish trigger point for a continuation up into this major level of resistance, because there's a level of resistance right over here, okay? Now, if we break above this level, we will likely see a move back into this range. Zooming back out to the 4-hour chart, we can see that although we have falling momentum over here, we can also see on the 4-hour that there is a decent amount of bearish absorption going on, okay? So although we have falling momentum, which we do have to be aware of, that could develop into a correction, we can also say that a lot of this selling pressure, okay, that is being obviously driven and represented by our falling momentum is being absorbed. The reason we can say it is being absorbed is because we do have rising price action over here. We have higher lows, okay, higher lows as momentum is still struggling and falling downwards. It is representative of, again, absorption of that selling pressure. So if we do see the momentum flip positive, which will be a break out of its trend line, that could potentially indicate another move upwards is coming into this 36k level. And again, if we do break above that 36k level, we will be continuing aggressively toward the upside. So again, guys, nothing right now is certain for Bitcoin. Everything, again, is still in this major chop zone. We are chopping sideways. We are very, very choppy over here. The price action has been very sporadic, very hard to predict. It's been all over the shop, okay? Zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. If we see the breakout over here, expect a continuation up of a Bitcoin. If we see the breakdown of this trend line, expect a continuation downwards for Bitcoin, okay? Then zoom out even more. If we see momentum flip negative on the high time frames, expect a high time frame correction as momentum is leading for price action. Simple as that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video here really quickly, guys, but I do want to go over maybe one more chart, and that is going to be on the small time frame. And this is the immediate price action. So as we did say already, we do have this upper level of resistance over here. You can see we retested it a few times, rejected again. We do need to show strength above this level for that continuation upwards. Until then, we are underneath this level of resistance, and we should expect the price to continue back down towards support. Again, I wouldn't be trading aggressively right now. I really wouldn't be trading aggressively. I don't see the point. I think if I look at the short-term price action and I see just how volatile and sporadic this has been, it is very, very clear the market is pushing in both directions to liquidate both sides. And we can see via the liquidation data that that is the case. Both longs and shorts are really being chopped up. So if you are taking positions right now, the best positions to be taking right now, in my opinion, would be ones with a little bit looser stop losses, right? Don't set your stops too tight, okay? Try zoom out and play the bigger picture. If you're trying to scalp trade, just be very, very cautious that you could get liquidated based on these large volatile moves. So look for higher entries for shorts, lower entries for longs. Look for these levels of resistance and support for those entries, and just get in, get out, take your profit and run. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a fantastic day. Catch you next one tomorrow. Cheers.